You know, artificial intelligence isn't some far-off sci-fi concept anymore. It's everywhere. It's already in our phones, it's in our homes, and it is absolutely changing the way we live and work. But as this tech gets more and more powerful, it kind of forces us to ask some really big questions, right? Like, how do we make sure it's fair? How do we protect our privacy? And maybe the biggest one, who's actually in control? Okay, let's dive in and figure out how we can use this amazing tool responsibly.
We've all heard this line, probably a million times. But honestly, it has never been more true than it is right now. This one simple idea, it's the heart of everything we're going to talk about. AI is that gray power, for sure. And that means the responsibility to use it ethically, well, that falls on all of us. So what does that actually look like in the real world?
All right, so let's start by really digging into this dual nature of AI. Because on one hand, it has this unbelievable potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems. But, and it's a big but, that potential comes with some serious strings attached.
What I love about this is the balance. Yeah, AI can totally change the world for the better. We're talking about breakthroughs in medicine, climate change, you name it. But on the flip side, if we're not super careful, we could end up building systems that do way more harm than good. So the goal here is pretty simple, but it's crucial, making sure AI benefits and is safe for absolutely everyone. So, how do we actually stay on the right path? How do we make sure we don't mess this up? Well, thankfully, a lot of smart people have basically created a kind of rulebook for ethical AI. You can think of it as the essential guide for building and using AI systems that we can all actually trust. The whole foundation of ethical AI really boils down to three core ideas you see here. It all starts with making sure there's fairness and transparency in every decision. Then, it's about guaranteeing our privacy and data protection. And maybe most importantly, it's about always maintaining human supervision and control. Let's break down what each of these really means. Okay, rule number one is all about justice. Simple as that. For an AI to be ethical, it has to be fair. And that means its decisions can't be swayed by someone's race, or their gender, or their religion. The system has to treat every single person equally, with zero prejudice. The whole point is that justice is for everybody, and that idea needs to be coded right into the system's DNA.
Next up, privacy. And this one is completely non-negotiable. Look, AI systems need a ton of data to work, right? And a lot of that data is personal stuff. It's about us. Your personal information has to be kept safe and secure. Period. No one should ever have the right to use your data without you explicitly saying it's okay. It really all comes down to respecting your privacy and keeping you in the driver's seat when it comes to your own information.
And that brings us to rule number 3, which you could argue is the most important one of all: human control. At the end of the day, AI is a tool. A ridiculously powerful tool, yeah, but still just a tool. It has to be controlled by people. We're the ones who set the goals. We define the values. And when it comes to the really critical decisions, stuff in medicine or law enforcement, a human being has to be the final decision maker every single time. Why? Because we have awareness, we have ethics, we have empathy, things an algorithm just doesn't. So, what happens when we don't follow these rules? Well, one of the biggest and scariest problems we run into is something called bias. And it is the perfect example of what happens when AI ethics go wrong. AI bias is actually pretty simple to wrap your head around. And AI learns from the data we feed it. So if that data is incomplete, or it's unfair, or it just reflects the biases that already exist in our society, then the AI is going to learn those biases too, and then it's going to spit out unfair results. It's the classic case of garbage in, garbage out. This visual here just shows that cycle perfectly. You start with biased data, you feed it into the AI, and boom, you get biased results. And this can create a really dangerous feedback loop, where unfair decisions just get automated and amplified over and over again. That's why, to stop this, developers are working like crazy to audit their data for hidden prejudices and even create new synthetic data to fill in the gaps for groups that aren't well represented.
And here's a real-world example that's pretty sobering. Let's say you train a facial recognition system mostly using pictures of people from one racial group. Well, that system is going to be terrible at recognizing faces from other races. It's not because the AI is racist or malicious, it's just because its textbook, its training data, was biased from the start. And the consequences of this can be huge, leading to things like false accusations and very real harm to people's lives.
So, all of this is building up to what I think is the most important part of this whole discussion. What's your role in all this? Because it's not just on the developers. As users, every one of us has a part to play in making sure AI is used responsibly.
So here are 3 really powerful things you can start doing today. First, think critically. Just because an answer comes from an AI, that doesn't automatically make it true. You've got to question what it gives you, especially when it comes to important stuff. Second, verify the information. Before you share something or act on what an AI told you, do a quick check with other trusted sources. And finally, just use AI responsibly. Use it as an awesome tool to learn and create things, but always be mindful of the data you're sharing and the impact it could have on other people.
Because ultimately, that's what this all boils down to. AI is a tool. It's one of the most powerful tools humanity has ever created, but it's still just a tool. And the direction it takes from here, that depends entirely on us. So the real question isn't just about the technology itself. It's about you. It's about me. It's about all of us. How are you going to use it? Thanks for tuning in.